Hi, I'm Alexa, and 4-0 win today. Are you kidding me? Like, is this real? Like, I can't, I'm still very excited, as you can tell. So I thought today that I might talk 4 different points, and let's jump into them about the game, about Everton. So the first one that I have is quite simply, where the heck did 4 goals come from? Like, really? 4 goals? We couldn't buy a goal for anything for months there. And 4 from play, not even from set pieces or penalties. 4 goals from open play. I just, wow. I think it is coming from a boost in confidence and a remembering of or a reigniting of the joy of the game. So a few Everton videos ago, because obviously I do other videos, a few Everton videos ago, I was talking about getting back to the basics. And one of the things that I think is a basic tenet of these games, of any athlete, of anyone doing anything that they really love, when it becomes your profession, it can take some of the joy out of it, because it's no longer you're doing it just because you love it. You're now doing it because you absolutely have to. You're being paid to, you have to do it. And yes, when you get that much money as a professional sports star, it should be fine. You should be happy most of the time, right? But we're human. We all have emotions. And when stuff is not going well, even when you're putting in the hard work, doing the training, putting everything you can out on that field, and it's still not going well, it can make you upset and sad, right? Like, we all go through that. That's fine. I don't know. I would say there has to be something that Moyes has said and done that has helped to reignite this. I do think that the change in ownership, 100%, whatever is going on behind the scenes, if all of these stories that we heard about Mosh were true, right? The players know this is going on. The players know, whether it was tried to be hidden from them, the players know that he was getting in the way, trying to buy people, not buying the people that the manager wanted, overriding the manager. The players will know that that was going on. And that's very mentally taxing. As taxing as it was on us as fans, can you imagine being employed by them and thinking, what if this goes south? Who's going to employ me, right? There's a lot of extra layers there on top of all the other stuff that just goes along with being a professional sports star in a club that's not doing so well. Whatever it is, and I'm thinking it's a culmination of several of these things, the new ownership, David Moyes coming in, stuff like that, there was a real sort of enjoyment in their game today. It wasn't like it was a task. It was a pleasure to be there. They wanted to do it. They wanted to play. They wanted to just shine. And that is where those 4 goals came from. So obviously we had Dukes in the fastest goal ever in our history. I think I read 10.18 seconds. That is absolute. I can't. Pickford, yeah, that's how I feel about that goal. It was insane. I did wake up a little bit late this morning. I will admit this fully. I do this Saturday mornings can be very tough for me, especially after the kind of week I had. January has been a very tough month for me. I have had trouble sleeping, which means I have trouble waking up. And then on top of that, I've had some health issues going on, which then makes it even harder to wake up, because when you're not well, you wish to sleep. So I only woke up 20 minutes after the start. I had the game on within 20 minutes. I totally missed the first 2 goals live. Obviously, I've seen them now. My first thought when I got on was I was like, it's fine. I was like, as long as we don't lose 3-2, I'm okay with missing the goals. Right? Everton have this real bad habit of scoring goals when I'm not watching. So when I lived in New York, I would go to the bar, and every once in a while, I'd miss time the bathroom break, right? And instead of half time, it would be like 60 minutes in or something. I'd be like, dang it, I really do need to go. They'd score. Whenever I was not there watching, they would score. And they have this bad habit. And I can't, it's not like I can't decide, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom and hope they score. It has to be like, well, they're not going to score anyway, and I really need to go, so I'm going to go, right? It has to be something like that. Or if I'm home, maybe the postman knocks at the door and I have to go sign for something, right? It'll be something that you're not expecting and you don't really want to do it, but you go do it. So this morning, I was actually trying to get up on time. I'm like, that's fine. If they score 2 and we win 2-0, I'm going to be happy as long as we don't give up 3 goals. Then they scored 2 more, okay? And I'm so excited I got to see those 2. Beto obviously got his in the 6th. That was the second one. Then he got one right before halftime. And then, and Diaz, like, their defense totally switched off. But my gosh, that is the absolute classic example of why you never stop fighting for the ball, right? Like, that is why you could get a goal like that if you keep fighting. So my second point is actually on Garner. Thoughts on his playing that position from now on? One of my videos previously on Everton, I talked about DCL and how he's been playing so far in our own half, right? He has not been getting the service. The way he played under Ancelotti and the way they served the ball to him, he got so many goals that season, and he has not been allowed to do that because of the way we were formatted, set up, and he just wasn't getting the service. He had to come back and get the ball and then take it forwards himself. Garner threaded those balls through. Beto's second goal, holy mackerel. I'm like, that is what we've been missing. That kind of weighted, perfect through ball. That's what we've been missing. I'm a little upset for Dom that he is injured and obviously out. I think that it's such a bad timing because if he was in, he would be getting this service, and I do think he would be getting the goals again the same way he did under Ancelotti. That is the type of player he is. That was the service he needed, and I'm very sad for him because I think that it will make him think that he should have just been scoring before, right? And I think it's way more complicated like that for him. But this point is about Garner. So this is a question for all of you Everton fans who may or may not be watching. Has he just not been playing in that role? Like, every time he's played, he's not played in that role, right? And it's really that sort of defensive midfield in front of the central defender, really having that connection between the defenders and the attacking and being able to do it. Why not? Now, I say that out loud, and I would like, and I will hear everyone's thoughts eventually, I'll go online, I'll look, but a lot of our players, similar to Dom, have had to play out of position, right? And I get that, and I totally understand, but my goodness, what are your thoughts on him becoming that sort of center mid, sort of almost a sweeper? Like, he can help with defense, but he really is that sort of connecting up the middle position. From what I saw today, that was extremely exciting, and I would love to see him be given that role a little more and see if that really is something he can own and take ownership of. And very exciting times for us. So this brings me to my third point, okay, because these are exciting. 3 wins in a row, and such decisive wins, and such a wonderful display as the one today, where they are obviously enjoying what they're doing and making those runs forwards, and 4 goals from open play. I mean, if I told you all a month ago that we were going to get 4 goals from open play, how many of you would believe it, right? Like, I probably wouldn't have believed it if someone had said that to me a month ago. We know that when teams change managers, there is often a bump in performance, and that bump can last long. It might be shorter or longer, right? So let's take this with joy that it is occurring, but let's also not be too upset when the inevitable happens and we do lose a game. So next weekend is the FA Cup, I want to say. And now I can't remember the team we're playing, but that's next weekend. So the next Premier League game is actually on February 12th, and it is the rescheduled derby. Now, I'm totally fine that they rescheduled it. I think that it is not worth risking anyone's lives, and we know Blues are going to be there, and Blue family, I want you safe. So I'm okay that we rescheduled this. And we are going into this with hopefully a little bit more confidence. But realistically, on paper, when you look at all of the stats, the probability of Everton even getting a point out of the derby with them, I hate even saying this, with them flying so high, top of the league at the moment, like, I don't like to say it, y'all, it's like bad taste in my mouth, but on paper, if we get a point, that is a huge result for us. Now, do I want them to go out there and play like they've never played before because it is a derby and you leave it all out there? Heck yeah. Some of my favorite memories are watching our Blues just leave it all on the pitch. And it is a different, even not being in the stadium, watching those games, it is a very different feeling to those games. And I think Moyes gets that. I think this resurgence in confidence and joy is going to carry them into it in a different manner. I am excited, but I'm also realistic that, the bump after the new manager doesn't always last a long time. So I do think that, the confidence and the joy is not just from the new manager. I do think that the change in ownership has to be massively positive for our players as well. If all of these stories of what Moshe was doing to basically sabotage the manager and the director of football, if those stories are true, the players knew it too. The players probably know even more than we know. And if they knew that their boss was essentially sabotaging, like, not getting out of the way, like, hire the person who's an expert and get out of their way, right? That is the number one rule of being a good boss. Hire the expert and get out of their way. This dude wasn't. That attitude, that resentment from the staff that he was essentially undermining, that energy is infectious. And that is so sort of, it weighs on you as an employee. I've worked at toxic companies. I've worked at non-toxic companies. And the difference in energy is insanely evident when you've been in both, okay? And I think that the change in ownership and the way that they have come in and not made huge changes, and just the stadium now coming to fruition, the new ownership, I think there's a lot of sort of release of that negative energy. And I think that that has allowed the players' energy and confidence and joy to also return. So I think that some of what we're seeing is not just the new manager. So my third point being, let's be okay with this. If, let's be really excited, 3 wins in a row. Let's see how we do. Let's not be too upset when we lose one. I don't expect us to win every game ever, right? But let's take it with that also confidence that it might not just be the change with Moyes, but there's other stuff going on as well. And every win will help build their confidence more. So my fourth point, I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this one. I was out today after the game. My friend and I went to, we actually went to Target, because gotta love a Target run. And we went to a Texas Roadhouse, which they're right near each other. And on the way home, I was, for the first time in a very, very long time, I was watching the press conference after the game with Moyes. So I have this thing called misophonia. I also have what they're calling misokinesia, I believe, but honestly, I've just always called it misophonia, and it's all the same. It's a sensory processing issue. And it's 100% my issue. This is not to put the blame on anyone else. It's totally just something that I have and I suffer with, where imagine nails on a chalkboard. Even saying that, like, if you hear them, do you get that chill down your spine where it's like, oh, and your body physically reacts and you cannot stop it? Imagine that happening all the time from normal noises in the day-to-day life. So someone chewing, someone breathing, a fan having a weird rattle to it. One I developed was people with flip-flops, and who, like, the flap, don't walk next to me in flip-flops. Like, I cannot take it. Some people's voices also get to me. I think in the years that Daesh was our manager, I managed to watch probably 15 minutes total, cumulative, of interviews with him, press conferences and such, post-match reactions. I simply could not listen to it. And it was me. It's not him. It was all because of my thing, my issue, my misophonia. I was in the car today listening to David Moyes, and this is the silliest reason to be glad he's back. But my goodness, I could listen to him for like hours. He could read a book and I would just listen to the book on tape with him reading it. And my friend in the car was like, oh, who is that? And I'm like, oh, it's our new manager. She's like, he's Scottish. She's like, I love Scottish voices. She has this, apparently had this thing for Sean Connery. And I was like, yeah, no, he has a nice voice. So in the realm of reasons why I am happy that David Moyes is back, that is probably the least of all the reasons I am, but it is still on the list. So that was my fourth point. And yes, I am. I can feel the red in my cheeks. It's not showing up a huge amount, but I'm slightly embarrassed to say that. Yeah, could definitely listen to him just talk. It's the opposite. So there's something I guess they call them glimmers. So instead of a trigger noise, which makes you feel bad, there's a glimmer noise, which helps relax you. And it can be music. Cats purring is a big one for me. But yeah, some people talk and you're just like, wow, that's a really nice voice. And it doesn't even really matter what they're saying. You're just listening to the tone and the timbre of it. So, all right, Blues, this one was for you. 4-0 from open play. Gorgeous goals. Absolutely amazing. Was not what I was expecting as we came into this game this weekend. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on our next game, and let me know your thoughts on the derby as well. In the meantime, if you made it this far, thank you. As always, be kind to yourself.